Hello and welcome to the webinar TumbleMath for Youth Services, School Librarians, and Educators. TumbleMath is a collection of over 250 animated storybooks for grades K through 6. The South Carolina State Library provides access to this subscription through Discus, South Carolina's virtual library, at scdiscus.org and through public library websites across the state. I'm Linda Heimberger with the South Carolina State Library, and in this session you will learn how to browse, search, and link to titles in the collection. You'll also explore lesson plans and quizzes aligned with Common Core standards. As educators and librarians, you will be able to create flyers or shelf talkers to align with district pacing guides, curriculum maps, or summer reading programs. There are 3 types of storybooks found in the collection. They're fundamental, embedded, and connected. The fundamental storybooks are going to be such as this one, Domino Edition, in which it's based around a specific math concept. And as you can see here, this book is actually hands-on working with addition using dominoes. The second type is called an embedded storybook. And this example, a collection for Kate, is an embedded book where the story and the plot stand alone, but the math concepts are embedded throughout the story. So you can see here it's collection week at school, and Kate signs up to show a collection which she doesn't have. Time is running out. What can she do? So they're going to be addition, grouping, and subtraction and other concepts within that book. And then the third type of book is actually considered a connected book, where the stories themselves do not have specific math concepts, but the teachers can make connections to math through think-alouds or class discussions. So that might be something that you run across as you're using the collection. Maybe it's something you could actually incorporate into a STEAM lesson or a STEM lesson. So we're going to go ahead and go back into Tumblebooks here, and we will go over 2 ways to browse the collection, a way to do a direct search, and then also an overview of the navigation bar for you. So the first way to browse is actually the easiest way for your young users, and that is by looking at the concept categories across the top, the different colors, word problems, fractions, etc. This seems to be the easiest way for the young ones to navigate. It's also very easy if you, as a teacher or a librarian, are looking for a particular concept. They're all broken out here. And you'll see within each record you have the title, the description, any links to the Common Core standards or keywords focused in the book. You'll also find on the left additional supplementary items of quizzes, lesson plans, etc. And then the book is easily accessed from the Play Video link. The second way to browse the collection is actually more useful for the professional, for the librarian, for the homeschool parent, or for the school teacher. And that would be using the index that you see on the left of the navigation bar. This will give you a link to a list of the titles in the collection alphabetically from A to Z here. It's also sortable, so you're able to go to the sort list here on the right and sort by author if you prefer to do it that way, or by category, counting or finance, etc. If you are interested in making a handout or perhaps linking to a specific title, you will also use this index with the book ID on the left in order to link to the title. So if you're interested in linking to Albert Keep's Score here by Daphne Skinner, you would just click on that book ID to the left. You'll see that the URL pops up for you here, and all you'll need to do is copy that and place it into your handout. So you would maybe type out the title and link it to your handout, which I'll show you some examples of those at the end of the session. You could also link out to that title if you wanted to link it out in a Google Classroom. Or perhaps you have maybe a PDF file that you're wanting to share for summer reading of a list of titles that the student or the library patron would be able to utilize. Notice when you use a link in this manner, the user will actually click on the link and they will be taken into the software directly to that book, as you see here. And then at that point, they can just click Read Online in order to view it and use the book. So those are the two main ways to browse the titles. But if you're wanting to search on a specific title, you can use the Math Search tool in the top right-hand corner. This will allow you to search by title, by author, again, by that math concept or genre there, or by publisher. So for instance, if you are searching for, maybe you want to find the book that we showed as an example of an embedded storybook, a collection for Kate, you could just go in and type your title directly and search here to be able to go out and locate the book. And as you do that, again, you might notice that perhaps you really liked the way the book was laid out or the way the book was presented, and you want to see maybe other titles that this publisher, Kane Press, has for you in the collection. Or if you were interested in the Dominoes book, the Domino Edition book, you could also go out and see other books that are published by that publisher, which was Charles Bridge Books. So if you're wanting to find similar books there, or maybe you've gotten used to a particular publisher that you like, that you want to just see what are all the books in this collection that are published by that same publisher. So for the Domino Edition book, we have the Big Buck Adventure, Dealing with Edition. We have a wonderful little book here called Pizza Counting. So again, you can actually search directly on publisher, title, or author using your math search in the top right-hand corner. So the other piece that you can browse is the quiz portal here. And the quiz portal allows you to see all of the quizzes that are available. Notice when you're just looking at one record, those quizzes are only going to cover, obviously, the concept that is tied to the Common Core for that book. But if you look at the quiz portal, you can look at additional Common Core standards here, broken out by kindergarten, grade level, etc. So if you know directly that you want to only view those books for second grade that deal with algebraic thinking, you can click on any of those standards there, and you'll be able to see what the quiz is going to cover. Another way to browse the quiz portal is by TumbleMath Quiz Portal. If you just go to the bottom here, this actually adds the feature of breaking out for you what the different concepts are that are covered there. So if you're looking at decomposing numbers, solving addition and subtraction here, and you just want to find specific quizzes tied to a particular a standard objective there, understand the meaning of the equal sign, for instance, you can just use this index to locate that type of quiz. So we could go here, understanding the meaning of the equal sign, and notice when you go into your quizzes here, you're able to see it opens in the same consistent format each time. You can either have the student take the full quiz or the quick quiz, which is typically 5 questions there. Notice this is going to just break out and give all the information about using and understanding the equal sign. Okay, so when you're actually out in the quizzes, and maybe you've just recently looked at a particular storybook, the quizzes aren't dealing with the same storyline necessarily as the book, but they're dealing with the same math concepts. So that's important for you to know there as well as you browse through some of the quizzes and the piece in the quiz portal. So those are two of the links that we've looked at in the navigation bar: your index to see the full list of titles and gather your links to the titles, and your quiz portal. Your favorites that you see also in the navigation bar can be used during the active session that you're working in. You can go in if you're actually looking at a list of titles. For instance, I'll just jump into subtraction here for you to see. Notice it says add to favorites, which you are able to do, but I just want to caution you that those favorites are going to be tied to your cookies. So if you do empty the cookies on your device, you're going to lose those favorites. So under certain circumstances, maybe when you're just getting ready to show something for summer reading, or maybe for read alouds, that kind of thing that you want to immediately take into a classroom, the favorites would be okay for temporary use, but they will not be permanently saved there for you. There's also the how to use that you have here in the center, and this is something that the vendor provides about how to use TumbleMath. There's a PDF of using TumbleMath at home and using TumbleMath in the classroom, with different examples and pieces there that can be useful to educators and librarians, and also parents at home, homeschool teachers, etc. And there's also a link to the Tumblebook Library, which is another one of the vendor's products that we do subscribe to through the South Carolina State Library for Discus. And that's going to open you up to an entire additional book library that includes math titles, storybooks, graphic novels, and even chapter books that aren't necessarily math related, but that's an entire additional collection that's provided there. So I'm going to go next out here. I'm just going to go back into the index here, and I'm going to pull one of the books to show you additional information about the book. So I'm going to just click on Albert the Muffin Maker here and let you see that those supplementary items here, again, the quiz is going to be tied to the math concept and not the storyline itself, but the lesson plans that you'll find in addition, sometimes there's one or two or even more different lesson plans that are available. But if you click on those, that's going to open in a PDF for you there that is downloadable. It's going to tell you the objectives, what you'll need in order to carry out the lesson plan. And then it'll also tell you activities. Sometimes the activities are for one-on-one. Sometimes the activities will be for small groups. But these will give you some really good ideas. Some of these can even be incorporated into story times to make learning fun during story times at the public library. So you can see that they have a before and after preparing for this, and then also other ways that you can do additional activities there to focus on different aspects of the learning. So many of them will have a worksheet following it. I know the domino math one actually has little dominoes that they can practice adding. This one is one that they can use for counting. And again, all of the instructions for using these are given in that lesson plan. So you could then print these out, or you can download these and place them into your Google Classroom there. So that's one of the additional pieces that you'll find within Tumblebooks that can be very useful for you and your programs there. So I'm going to click back out of that. And what we're going to look at next, I've pretty much given you the overview of where everything lives, how to browse, how to search, and how to locate those links to the books. But for you educators and librarians, I wanted to point out the Math Admin that you see in the bottom navigation bar. This will help you to know how many books we actually have in the collection if you go to your collection. So again, if you missed that, you just go to Math Admin at the bottom. You click on your collection, and you're going to be able to see how many titles we have broken out for each type of math concept there. And you'll also be able to see the total number of books, 252. So someone had asked recently about the breakout there. And that's just for your own information. It's not really something that's very useful or interesting for the student or the patron at the library. But what I want to show you, I'm going to click back one more time into that index and just review once again about pulling those links that I mentioned there for the different titles. And I'm going to pause for a moment here and pull up a sample handout that's similar to what you could make using these URLs. So this is one example for summer reading. This 2021 summer reading program, many are using the Tales and Tales theme with pets and animals, and this is something that you could actually produce that would be very useful handout for parents and for your young readers for the program. Explore books featuring animals in TumbleMath for the summer reading program. So as you see here, all I've done is I've gone through TumbleMath. I've located some key storybooks that include kittens and puppies and chickens and kangaroos and other tales with tails there. And all I've done is I've gone in and I've highlighted the section that I want to link to. And you notice on this one, I've actually already embedded the hyperlink to that book. So you could actually embed the hyperlinks using the links from the index in this way to create a handout that could supplement your summer reading or encourage students to use some of those math concept books along with the theme of the animals so that they're learning and having fun at the same time. A second example for those of you maybe more on the school library side of the house or even at the public libraries in your children's sections, you can actually create a shelf talker such as this using that same concept. So if you have maybe a section of math books or math storybooks, you can put something on a handout such as, for more storybooks on fractions, access TumbleMath. And of course you would want to put the access link to your public library there if you're at the public library. But you can see how at the end of a physical shelf in the library, you can lead those users to additional books. And this, again, is very helpful if you have homeschool parents that are working with different pieces there. So you could actually link to the titles here for them. You could also just share this out to them if you have a particular patron who is asking for additional titles. So those are just a couple of the ideas. I know that you will come up with many more. If you have teachers that are working on STEM projects, for instance, and you want to be able to just say, this is a nice sort of bibliography of titles that could be used for a STEM project, etc., you can use those ideas in order to do that as well. So that's all that I have for you today. I do welcome you to contact Discus if you have any questions. You are welcome to contact us from our SC Discus site there. Contact the Discus office, or you can put in a help desk ticket if you have any questions about using these resources. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in another webinar.